guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be channeling your angels, guides, and ancestors. So let's see what message they have for you today. Clarify something, spirits. Okay. The back of the deck energy is the Three of Wands. So moving forward, moving ahead with the Ace of Pentacles right behind it, I'm seeing that you're moving forward. You've made a decision and you're sticking to it and you're going to move forward. With the Sun coming out as your first card, it shows me that, you're ready to be in the energy of joy. You're ready to be in the energy of just receiving opportunities, basking in that light energy, right? Not feeling so heavy, not feeling so down on yourself anymore. And with the Knight of Pentacles underneath it, to clarify, it's showing that, this is coming steadily and very, not as quick as you'd want, because it is rooted in the physical world. So when things are rooted in the physical, it just takes a bit more time, because these are very physical, tangible things that are trying to align for you. So know that the things that are coming for you are blessings, are things that you have been manifesting for a really long time. You've been trying to manifest yourself out of a burnout period, feeling uninspired. Maybe the muse you had before just isn't working anymore. The avenue that you would go down in order to find that inspiration just isn't hitting anymore. And that's because you're not really attracted to the same things as you used to be. With the Five of Pentacles in reverse, I'm seeing that you've really healed yourself out of this lack mentality, feeling like you didn't deserve things, right? You've healed that. You are fully understanding that you are worthy, that you are deserving of everything that is meant for you, right? And so there isn't any need to feel lack, because Spirit says that, during the times where you think you don't have help, you actually are being helped. In moments where you think you're alone, you're actually never alone. In moments where you think you're the only one that's been through this traumatic experience, you get met with people or experiences, or you just hear about it, that shows you that, you've never been alone in this, that you've always had a support group. You've always had individuals that could understand you. Okay, so maybe there was a point of isolation with the Four of Swords. I'm seeing that the point of this isolation was for you to gain clarity over your situation, over your life, over your direction, Maybe you were a bit directionless before, and maybe, that was on purpose. Maybe you were trying to find yourself. Not every stage of your life has to have such a distinct purpose, and doesn't always have to be so driven, But I'm seeing that now that you've made a choice to move forward, you're going to receive your first blessing from whatever you've been manifesting. This is going to be the beginning of the kind of like downpour of gifts, of gifts. So you might be getting new spiritual gifts, and there's so many, like there's clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance. There's so many different types of spiritual gifts that go beyond the clairs as well. There's scrying with water, there's scrying, there's reading smoke, there's reading sand, there's reading bones, there's runes, and there's so many different avenues to channel your spirituality. And so you are definitely finding your special ability. That's what I'm hearing. Maybe up until this point, you felt like you were kind of a jack of all trades, everything kind of makes sense to you. You're able to kind of do it all. So nothing really ever felt that special to you, right? Because if we're just good at a lot of things, we might not see just how, like, I believe that when we're naturally good at a lot of things, we've spent lifetimes working on that one thing. And that's why in the lifetimes afterwards, you're able to do it easily because you mastered it in the last life. So if you're a jack of all trades, just know that you have mastered a lot of skills throughout your past lives. And this one is a culmination life where you're using all of it to help you pursue a very distinct goal. That's what I'm hearing. And, you know, this varies from person to person. I can't tell you what your goals are, but I know you're ambitious. I know you're really ambitious. I know you're here to do something with a lot of impact. You guys are not small. You guys do not play small, and you guys don't think small, right? With the Five of Pentacles in reverse, you guys are above that kind of survival experience. And now you're realizing that you can have an impact on this planet. You are part of it, so of course you can have an impact on it. And many of you, I'm hearing like global research. I'm hearing that you want to help the planet. I think Mother Gaia, I think the earth is very important to my collective, as it is for me as well. And so yeah, conservation, sustainability, you guys are all about that. And that's exactly what I'm about as well. So it's really cool to know that, you know, that we have a group of light workers that are here to not only help the people, but to also help the planet. And I know a lot of us are intellectuals. We have a lot of experience under our belts. And so I can't wait to even hear about what you guys want to do with your new abilities coming together, because all of this is this upgrade that's coming to you is to honestly help you get to that goal, that very physical goal that you have on this planet that you want to do. Spirit is saying you're going to be able to start doing that next year, 2026. You're going to be able to start walking towards the path towards humanitarianism, and you're dealing with consumerism, and you're environmentalists. That's what I'm hearing. You guys are very conscious consumers, and you guys really care about the environment. And I love that so much. I'm so happy that that's my collective. It makes me so happy. I'm going to pull out more tarot cards to see what else is going on. So these spiritual gifts, can we expand on this? Okay, keep going. So I'm hearing. Okay. So you guys have recently just come out of a period of mourning, of dealing with just way too much, of dealing with nightmares and stress, and that's what kind of catapulted you into this new way of being, because you realize that staying stuck in this mode of carrying burdens and crying over what has occurred in our past, yes, mourning them is important, but you realize that, you know, by constantly thinking about it, you might have internalized some of it. And so it's really important that we come out of that, and you guys really have with the Hermit in reverse. I'm seeing that you guys have escaped this period of just kind of experiencing life in a more like with solitude and being in your darkness. You're not, sorry, my face gets itchy sometimes when I start channeling. You're not in a place where you're so introspective, essentially. You're not too focused on what's going on in the deeper areas of ourselves. We have gone through that. We've gone deep within ourselves. We have seen a lot of ourselves. We've learned to incorporate a lot of ourselves already. And so you're coming out of this period and you're moving forward. You're moving forward with curiosity. You're moving forward with interest, or just like a wonder, like a state of wonder, right? It's like, what is out there for me? I just wonder. Yeah, like I wonder what's out there for me. That's exactly what you guys might be going through. And the Two of Pentacles comes out to kind of say it's always a balancing act, you know? Sometimes we're good at balancing out the darker parts of our lives and the lighter parts. Sometimes it just teeter-totters, and we have to go through the motions. And so you guys might have just gone through another wave of emotions over your past, but know that that's just the purging that's occurring right now. Right now, I think energetically, it's really aligned for purging. So a lot of things that didn't work out in the past, if they are not meant to work out, they're gone. You're gonna feel it, you're gonna cry, or you're just gonna express it through journaling or speaking to someone, and then you're gonna let it go. You're gonna be like, gosh, that hurt. That hurt a lot. But that just means I don't want to hold on to it. I'm gonna feel the feelings, but I'm not internalizing it again. I'm not going to personalize it. I'm just gonna let it go and let it be. You know, right now, if you guys are really good at being nonchalant, that's the best thing you guys can do. Yeah, so let's get some oracle cards to, I guess I asked about your spiritual gifts, and right now you're mastering the skill of alchemizing. You're mastering the skill of detaching and not allowing thought loops to suck you back in, right? Sometimes when we get those ants in our brain and they tell us little things that remind us of the past, those just the little thoughts, you know, that's how it starts. And you guys have learned to clock them. You guys can see them as they enter your head now. And anytime an ant enters your mind, you can clearly identify it and be like, okay, that thought is not mine. That is what I am assuming. That is what I'm projecting onto others. Or the other way around, that's what others are projecting onto me. I don't identify with that. That's an ant. Okay, we're not using it to obviously be okay with a lie. We're using it to be honest, and we're using it to identify thought patterns that lead to spirals. Okay, so we're no longer just allowing the triggers to occur. They're gonna occur anyways, right? So the key that you guys are mastering is the ability to know when a thought is yours versus not. And that's really important when you start your spiritual journey. It's important to separate the thoughts of other people from your own, to understand when others are projecting onto you or you projecting onto others, right? Because that happens both ways. And sometimes it happens without us even aware. So it's really important that when we're alone and those ants come in, you clock them and you're like, hey, I see you, and you're not going to start a weird spiral in my head again. I think that we are all adults, and if we have an issue with each other, we will come to each other to speak about the issue. And if we do not come together to speak about the issue, then it is not an issue. Then they don't have an issue with me, and I don't have an issue with them, right? And so you're really mastering that level of detachment, which is very important, because I believe that when we're doing spiritual work, especially empaths, oh my gosh, we can sometimes hear the thoughts, okay? We can actually see the person and actually hear what they're thinking. But there is a fine line between projecting what you think they're thinking versus what they're actually thinking, right? And so I always try to promote self-care, working on self, because when you focus on you, you do not risk the projecting of, whatever. You guys might need some water right now. Have some water. Stay hydrated. Okay. Let's get some oracle cards for my collective. The Seas of Mintaka, seeing potential, bringing unconsciousness to light. Yeah, like what I was saying with those ants, we're just like, we're seeing the potential in our thoughts. I think we are realizing how strong our thoughts can dictate how we feel throughout the day, right? We're realizing that our thoughts are highly linked to how we feel. And so we're becoming very aware of what's normally kind of hidden behind the ants, and we're allowing those things to come forth. We're no longer distracting ourselves with the thoughts of other people, right? We're finally like getting rid of the distractions. We're finally able to focus on all this good stuff, you know, that you're focusing on you, and you're realizing just how wonderful you are, and you're realizing that your energy is so lovely to be in. And you know, when we say like bringing our unconsciousness to light, sometimes we're just unaware of our own energy. We're unaware of how we affect other people. We're unaware of, you know, our magnetism sometimes, because we're us. So we don't get a break from us. So we get breaks from other people. So we're able to see the beauty in other people so easily. But for us, since we're kind of desensitized to it, it's a good reminder to always kind of come back and express gratitude to you, to the body that holds you, to this avatar that you've reincarnated into, right? It's very important to show love to our bodies, because our bodies are made of earth. It is Mother Gaia, you know, we are a product of that. And so when we can honor ourselves, we are honoring the earth, and we are honoring the skies at the same time. Because we are, you know, I believe humans are the bridge between the spirit and earth, sky and earth. It's us that, you know, can gaze upon the stars, but also gaze upon the plants that grow. We are the observers. We are the bridge, you know. So that's just what I believe. You know, it's not that important. But I think it's beautiful when we can pour into ourselves and just be aware of ourselves, you know, because I guess I was meditating right before this. That's why my energy was a bit low. But I was meditating. I was just sitting on the grass in my meditation. And then all of a sudden, I became really aware of my own energy field. And so like I wanted to open my eyes from the meditation, because it felt like something was there, you know. But I quickly realized, like, oh, that's just my own energy. I'm tuning into myself. And I didn't realize how strong my energy came off until I was meditating and I was clearing my mind. And then all of a sudden I could feel my own energy. And I'm like, oh, who is that? It was me. So, yeah, sometimes you guys might be spooked all of a sudden if you're like alone, but know that more often than not, it's your own energy. It's you being aware of your own energy, which is really funny. It's not too spooky. Water your garden, nourishment, body care, tenderness, rest. Yeah, so we're honoring our bodies. This, like what I was saying earlier, you know, like we are connected to this earth. And when we care for our bodies, when we care for how we show up for ourselves, it's almost as if we're showing up for the planet as well. When we're showing up for Mother Gaia, because we're honoring the body that is created from her, right? And so show yourself some tenderness, allow yourself to rest, because you have worked so hard. And if you need permission to rest, this is your permission. Spirit is saying, please rest. We need you to rest. You have full permission to lay down all your burdens and give yourself that tenderness, give yourself that kindness and nourishment, okay? Nourish your body in the ways that you know best. Maybe it's like something really easy to do is to make breakfast for yourself every morning. Even if you're not a breakfast person, your first meal, you know, like whatever time you eat your first meal, make it intentional. Like, I like rice and salmon and some soup, you know, and then my partner likes to make like an American breakfast, which is toast, eggs, and veggies. And we used to eat that every morning. And it felt really good, just like showing up for ourselves with a bit of nourishment that we can give ourselves, you know, something really simple like that. And even if you don't enjoy cooking, it could be a cup of tea, it could be your coffee, you know, make it intentionally. Add some good stuff to it, like for my drinks, when I make my teas, I add collagen to it. I try not to use syrups anymore, and so I don't think it's any better, but I'm using brown sugar right now. And just a side note, brown sugar and matcha, I love it so much. It's so good. But that's like how I show up for myself every morning, you know? It's those little acts of, here, I know what you like. Let me give it to you so that your day starts off better. You know, like it's you treating yourself like that. And I think that's really sweet. And the last card you're going to get from this deck is Your Life is a Canvas, Artist, Manifestation, Creative Accountability. So I'm seeing that, you know, as you start caring for yourself more, you're realizing that you're the artist to the canvas, which is your life. You're seeing life in a much more lighthearted, heart-driven way, creative way. And so it's paving this path for you where you're going to be able to manifest and manifest and manifest. You're going to be able to get it out like that, anything you want. And it's because you've realized that your life is your canvas. You're allowed to have what you desire in life. But yeah, beautiful. Let's close out with some simple affirmation cards. Let's see here. Is this 2 or 1? It's just 1. Begin your new adventure and balance the light and dark within. So with the balancing act that we had pulled before with the 2 of Pentacles in reverse, it is that balancing act between your light and your dark, your shadows and your light. It's the balance between what you're aware of and what you're not aware of, right? And so as you begin this new adventure, just know that with new comes new skills to develop, right? And so balancing out your what you're consciously aware of with what you're unconsciously aware of is going to be very important for you in this next chapter. So I highly recommend, just because this is what I did in that time period, I'm just trying to share with you in case you are interested. But what I did a lot of is meditating. I did a lot of it. And not in like the tiring way where like it's like a really long time. No, I would just like, a lot of my meditations when I first started was just staring at a tree. I would stare at the tree and watch the branches sway back and forth and back and forth. And It would get me in, like, if I were to focus on the back and forth, it would allow my mind to finally not focus on what my conscious brain is always thinking about. And I was able to tap into this space that was kind of like behind the aware space of my mind, if that makes any sense. But you're learning to balance that out. You're finding new ways to get you into this meditative flow state. And so whatever suits you, you know, there's so many different methods. I think that's the beauty of spirituality. There's just so many different ways to go about healing. And if you're open to different cultures, the modalities can be very varied, you know. It does not have to stick to your religion, because if it's just aiding you getting to know you better, it's not really religious. It's really just more about you coming into contact with your own spirit, right? Your own soul, above the ideas of what is out there. You know, we're focusing on us. We're focusing on you. We're focusing on your inner world. Okay, because your inner world is where all the magic is, and when we can tap into that, that's when the manifestations begin. Okay, so these are the very, very last messages. Okay. You are transforming. Refrain from criticizing your journey and embrace the new sensations. Wow, that's actually really beautiful. Refrain from criticizing your journey. So maybe you're kind of comparing your journey with other people, and you're not being kind to yourself when you are. This is a reminder to you, saying that you are in the midst of a transformation. Okay, please be kind to yourself. You are going through something that is beyond your control at this very moment, and it's really important to not be mean to yourself. It's really important to stay open to what is to come, that where you are right now is not where you end, right? This is merely the beginning. This is a period of transformation, right? Where we go from one chapter to another, which means that it's not over yet. So there is no need to judge yourself, because you don't know what's going to come next. You don't know what's going to happen next. It could be the very thing that changes your life, right? It's what you had to align with in order to get there. And so something that might be perceived as bad in this very moment might be the very thing that is perceived as the glory moment that changed your life forever. Okay, so you never know. And they're saying in the other card, insecurity is human. We all experience insecurity. So be kind to yourself when you feel the urge to retreat. So I feel like we got this in the last reading as well. But, you know, if you are comparing yourself to others, like your journey versus theirs, it's you know, sometimes we get insecure and we're like, oh my gosh, they're so much further along. They might be able to see a lot of my toxicity that I haven't been able to tackle yet. I think that, you know, if you're afraid of that, be aware that, you know, in this kind of era that you're in, you're going to be meeting people that don't judge. You're going to be meeting people that are really open, and not in the open way where you think it's like defenseless. It is the open where it's strong, because they can accept people at various stages in their life. And when, you know, if you do display like toxicity, people like me, if you were to talk to me, I would not be like writing on like a notebook or something and like checking, like docking points or something. No, I will be able, like, I'm just using me as an example, but know that when you meet more spiritual people, because this might be the insecurity, maybe you're starting your spiritual journey and you feel a little insecure because it's, you know, you're just starting. And so people with a lot of knowledge are just like, whoa, you're like on another level. And it might cause you to feel insecure, because I get like that too. You know, I've been doing this for a really long time, but when I meet spiritual people, I get nervous because I think they're going to judge me. But then I'm like, wait, I don't judge people like that. Like, that's not why you become spiritual, to judge. It's you just kind of become spiritual because you were interested in knowing about yourself more and healing yourself. So, you know, just come from it from that perspective. Know that no one should be judging you, you know, like where you are in life is never for someone else to judge, because they don't know what you've been through. They don't know how much strength it took for you to get to where you are right now. And so it'd be ridiculous to judge someone based on where they are right now, because you don't know what they've been through. We're not all given the same levels of blessings throughout our lives. Some of us have it much worse. And so even for some, like, to get their own apartment, that's such a big deal. To have, or like for someone to finally be able to sleep on a bed, that is such a big deal. You know, you just never know where people have been, and where they are right now might be them coming back up, or you know, even if they're not like actively like growth mindset and all that jazz, you know, they're still trying to better their life. They're still trying to make it. They're, you know, every day is a battle to a lot of people. And so yeah, just know that awareness is still there. That awareness is still present. It's not something to ever judge others on. And so if you feel insecure about not being like the most spiritual, it's okay. That's not where your life was. That wasn't your story. And maybe later on you will be a lot more spiritual, but that's not even like a parameter to really measure for, like, in my opinion, like truly spiritual people. You know, like we don't look at people and we're like, oh, they're not spiritual, so I don't want to deal with them. No, like I think being spiritual, you see the beauty in humanity a lot deeper. You see the pain, you see the struggles, but only to see how humanity can rise from the ashes every time. It happens every time. And it's the most beautiful story every time I hear anyone rising above, like having their own phoenix moment where, you know, everything burns in their life and they're able to pick themselves back up. You know, I've gained a lot of empathy for people, and I've gained a lot of sympathy for others going through things that I've never experienced before, because I know that I have been extremely blessed, you know, to be able to be where I am. And so my role is to never judge others, but it's rather to help others, to guide others if they're interested in the same things that I happen to be interested in, you know? So that might be something that helps you kind of understand the inner minds of like a spiritual person, someone that works on themselves. It's never a judgmental thing. It is purely like when you have saved yourself from the ashes, you're able to see other people's stories and really be aware of the strength it takes to get yourself out of those kind of states, right? So it's beautiful. It's a beautiful journey whenever I get to hear it from anybody. So yeah, I'm getting all emotional. I don't even know why, but know that I do love you very much, collective. It might not be something you hear too often, but it is true. Like, I'm pouring a lot of my love into this channel, and I'm pouring a lot of my love and empathy into these readings for you guys, because I know how difficult it is, right? Like, I have related to a lot of the things I've channeled, and naturally, like, that's why I'm able to channel with very clear examples and ways and actual practical ways to get out of, you know, whatever you're struggling with. So hopefully these messages helped you out in any way. If they did, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like the video, and hype it up as well. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.